Friends, this is Preethi and today I am going to continue with the topic of organic reactions and drug molecule of unit 4 in engineering chemistry first year. As we have continued the classes with the previous section, continuity of that class is this. Today I am going to talk about oxidation by potassium permanganate. So, oxidation by potassium permanganate. How is this going to react and what are the where it is being used and what is going to happen in this reaction? Let's see. See, first of all, it is a chemical chemical formula of this potassium permanganate is KMnO4. Okay, and so the structure will be like K plus Mn minus. So this is potassium ion and here it comes as permanganate ion. Okay, and now see, then in this it has a chemical formula of KMnO4 and it is a salt consisting of K plus and MnO4 minus ions. Okay, K plus and MnO4 minus ions. It is a strong oxidizing agent. It is a strong oxidizing agent. The next thing is this get dissolves in water and instantly it gives a pink or purple color solution in the component because manganese is +7 oxidization state. Manganese is in +7 oxidized state and its reactivity depends on whether it is being used in acids, neutrals or basic conditions. In acids, Mn7 is reduced to Mn2, while in bases and neutral conditions MnO2 is usually formed, where this is in the acidic solutions and this usually formed during the neutral and in basic conditions. Okay, now I'll give you few examples like CH3CH2 in the presence of KMnO4. It gives rise to acetic acid CH3C double bond OOH plus CO2 carbon dioxide. Okay, and let us now talk about, this was the first reaction. The second one is chromium trioxide. Now what is this chromium trioxide? What is the basic formula of it? Let us see. Chromium trioxide, here the structure is chromium with 3 oxygen components, okay, with a double bond. Now chromium trioxide formula is CrO3, Cr and O3. It is a basic anhydride of a chromium acid. Chromium trioxide is a powerful oxidizer and suspected as a carcinogen, okay, which is suspected as a carcinogen. The solid consisting of chains of tetrahedral coordination chromium atoms. Now how they look like is like, see, in acid solutions it would be looking like a red blood color. Okay, when it is mixed in a solutions it would be forming in a acid, especially in acidic solution it looks like a red blood color, okay, because of the presence of chromium and oxides. And how will it look like when it is in a combination of a chain? It would be something like this. Okay, this combination is arranged like this. Is how the structure look like. The central part would be chromium and this would be an oxygen components. This is how the chain structure will be looking forward. Okay. The Jones oxidizing is an organic reaction used to oxidize alcohols using chromium trioxides and acids in water. So, the primary alcohol is reduced to anhydride or all the way to carboxylic acids, while in the secondary alcohols give rise to ketones. Okay. Now, for example, R1OH, which is in the presence of aqueous chromium oxide and H2SO4 sulfuric acid in the presence of acetone, give rise to R1 double bond OH. This is in the primary alcohol, and which is further in the secondary alcohols, it is going to give rise to a keto group. Okay. And reduction of, next is reduction by catalyst. Now, what the basic things, what comes into the mind when we are talking about a catalyst? See, catalyst is either makes the reaction go forward, means it is making the reactions to happen faster, or in a suitable particular suitable conditions, or making the components to break down the double bond or single bonds or triple bonds into a single bond. For example, now let me say hydrogenation. Hydrogenation is a chemical reaction between the molecules of hydrogens and other components. Okay, there is a reaction, chemical reaction happening between the molecule of hydrogen and other components, usually in the presence of a catalyst. The catalyst which can be used in the presences like nickel, palladium, okay, or platinum. These all are used as a catalyst in a particular chemical reactions. What is the use? Hydrogenation reduces the double bond or triple bond into a hydrocarbons. Okay. So, for example, catalytic hydrogenation by nickel. Let us see an example of a benzene. This is benzene structure in presence of H2 nickel. Okay. So, what are we going to get? The component what we are going to get is cyclohexane. Cyclohexane. Okay. This is totally hydrogenated saturated components. Okay. Next, I'll give you another example. Next, it would be an example of C-ethyl. Okay. In presence of H2, giving rise to, in presence of nickel as a catalyst of 150 degrees centigrade. So, what are we going to get? CH. This two hydrogens going to get attack over here, which can be represented in this form. Okay. So, this is how the catalyst will be functioning, and I would like to give you some more examples. Reduction of nitro group. In reduction of nitro group, benzyl nitrate in presence of H2 and palladium, we are going to get this. So, ammonia, benzyl amine. Okay, this is how the reaction does. Next, I am going to talk about drugs. So, basically, when we are talking about a drug, we first get the first thing what we get into our mind is Drugs is something, a chemical substances which is being taken by a man, human beings or any of the organisms, living organisms, to make sure that the particular diseased part or a particular organ where the pain or any kind of injury occurred, to reduce the to reduce the pain or to relieve the particular mm, problem there, the drug is being used. So basically a drug is a chemical structure of of another nutrition or nutritions or an essential dietary ingredient in which and administrated to a living organisms by a biological effect. A drug also known as a medicated or a medicine, okay, which is used to treat or cure or prevent the diagnosis of a disease or to promote a well-being. Understood? So traditional days, what would traditionally what in olden days, in the ancient period, what they used to do is like inhaling the, I mean taking up the drug by a plant medication. Like they used to take up the medicine through the Ayurvedic form, in the form of a plant leaf juices, or the making of a paste of the certain ingredients of the leaves have been taken as a drugs, and some essential oils also been used to reduce the pains or painkillers, like, okay. So now too we have been now we have been used with many of chemical structure formulating or pharmaceutical industries that have been grown up, or there are many kind of medical fields which has been raised or grown to show with different formulated structures of chemical components which is being used as a medicine in our daily routines. So the pharmaceutical drugs are often classified into certain groups and relative drug chemical structures we are going to talk about now. So let's start. Classification of drugs. So the drugs are being classified now. So these classified drugs are being categorized based on their effects on users. First one, let us talk about depressants. Now what is meant by depressants? See, these drugs which are suppressed or slow in action or activity of the brain and nervous actions. It directly affects onto the central nervous system to create a calmness, and depressants to take a relief in an anxiety and promotes sleep. Okay, that there would be certain kinds of drugs which are going to help us in getting down into the sleep form, or making ourselves very reduced or relief from the anxiety form. So those kind of drugs which have been used are said to be as a depressants. Okay, the second one is I can give you some examples, like alcohols, or we can also say as a diazepam. These all are the examples of the depressants. Now let us talk about the stimulants. Stimulants are also drugs which are directly attacking onto the central nervous system, and they act very fastly. The name itself is telling you which is going to stimulate and make you feel energetic, focused and alert. Okay, this kind of a drugs can make you feel anger like or fade. Okay, and for example the drugs which are mostly used in this are like cocaine. Cocaine is one of the drug which can be used as a stimulants. Okay, or crack cocaine. Next drug we can talk it as a hallucinogens. Hallucinogens is the drug which is going to directly affect on our brain of central nervous system. And what is it going to do? It is going to create such it's going to make you completely relief from the stress busting things, and hallucination may also cause you hear or see the things that actually do not exist. Okay, or it is an imaginary situation that are actually not real, they aren't real. Okay, for example, I can say as in a dimethyl triphenylamine. Okay, or diethylamide. Example is diethylamide. Okay, diethylamide or peroid. These are the few examples which are going to show the effect on our central nervous system and our brain. Next one is opioids. See, this kind of drugs that act through the receptors, and opioids are the most commonly prescribed medicine worldwide, which is used for the treatment of pain and cough. For this, examples are heroin, okay, morphine, or we can also write as a hydrocodone. These are the few examples for this opioids. Next, inhalers. Now we mostly know that if we get a we are affected with a cold and or we usually go and get a inhalers, Vicks inhalers and all those, all kind of inhalers which are being taken the drug in the form of a vapor form. Okay, those are said to be as a inhalers. These are very commonly known for us. Or example, we can also say as a hair sprayers or chloroform, nitrogenous oxides. These are all comes under inhalers only, which are being taken in the form of a vapor through a nose. Okay, these kind of drugs are said to be inhalers, which are broadly classified or as shared through the primary consumers through the inhaler forms. Next is a okay, inhalants we can say them. Next is the cannabis. Cannabis is a plant-derived drug that is most commonly used for the most commonly used drug worldwide. Okay, cannabis is abused in various forms, including as a ganja, charas, okay, and halcyon oils. These are used in the form of these. Okay, and there are few new substrates which can be also used to treat some kind of disorders or some kind of pain relief medicines. These are all comes under drug forms only. Drugs kills the pain and the joy and hope. There is a kind of a hope that can relieve from the pain of the particular part. And also what it will do, when we take a drug into our body, that will immediately affect on our central nervous system of our brain, which helps in stimulating the activity of the cells and relieve the pain from the particular part, and make yourself suppressed to or make yourself into a lay down to the sleep part. So this is all the action part of a drugs. Okay, now let us go through the classification based on therapeutic use. Okay, now first one is analgesic drugs. See, analgesic drugs or painkillers is another member of a group of drugs which is used to achieve pain relief from the particular part. Okay, for example I can give you paracetamol. Paracetamol, we all know that we generally take it for the cold, cough, and sometimes also for the fever. Next, antibiotic drugs. Antibiotic drugs. Now what is this antibiotic drugs? These antibiotic drugs are also called as a antibacterial. This is a type of a drug which is going to completely work on the antimicrobial drug used for treatment or prevention of bacterial infections. For example, we see fungal infections or bacterial infections of ring guard, okay, itchworms. These all are the bacterial infections or fungal infections which is used for this kind of infections. We mostly take drugs called as the antibiotic drugs, or we can also say as antibacterial drugs. For examples, they may either kill or inhibit the growth of the bacteria. So for example, we can say as an antibiotic penicillins. Okay, next is anticoagulation drugs. Anticoagulation drugs. Now the name itself is commonly referred to as a blood thickening, or the chemical substances that prevent or reduce red blood prolongations to clotting timing. So anticoagulation is something like which is completely related to the blood, which is helping in clotting the blood, where in some cases what happens, there will be some people, for them if any hurt, if we get any kind of a hurt, the blood oozing out of the body will be rapidly. There would be very slow process of getting clotting of that particular blood. So this to treat this kind of clotting of the blood, there are certain kinds of drugs have been given, like that. Those kind of drugs are said to be anticoagulant drugs. Like you can say heparin is a good example of that. Okay. Now the fourth one is antidepressant drugs. Antidepressant drug is a drug which is used to treat for the major depressant disorders or social and anxiety disorders or sleep disorder. Some people will be not antidepressant drugs. Antidepressant drugs is nothing but these drugs are mostly used to treat the depressant kind of a things, depressant kind of a part. So they are going to reduce the stress of the body. So antidepressant drugs are used to treat the major of the depressant disorders and sleep disorders. Okay. Next we can say as an anti-cancer drug. And anti-cancer drugs. Now what is this anti-cancer drugs? Anti-cancer drugs will be inhibiting or preventing the growth of the cancer part of the cells, cancer cells. These drugs, when they are being taken, most of this kind of a anti-cancer drug are given to the cancer patients who are suffering with the cancer, with the various affected to the various parts or organs. These drugs, what they are going to do is like they are going to help in reducing or inhibiting the growth of the cancer cells rapidly day by day. Okay. So I can definitely say that there is no particular treatment, no particular definite cure of this cancer, but there are certain drugs which can help in inhibiting the growth of the cells on time to time, not at least reducing of the growth to 50% or something like every day to day. Okay. Next is like we can say antiviral drugs. Antiviral drugs. Now what is this antiviral drugs? Antiviral drugs are a class of medicinals used for specific treatment of viral infections, as that of the antibacterial infection, as we have read, the same as that of the antiviral infections. Okay. With this we are going to wind up with the class, and tomorrow in the next video I am going to talk about the medicines of paracetamol, aspirin, brufen, and diaphenamide, and so on, spectroscopy. These are all topics which are going to be completed in the next section of our topic. So kindly please watch the video, and if any kinds of doubts with these classes or any kind of information related to the class, you can ping me or comment me. Please do subscribe and like it. Thank you.